Happy Monday, guys. All right. Let me just make sure my screens are set up correctly. Welcome. We are going to talk about the frequency of emotions. But before we get started, I'm going to share with you something that happened to me this week because I love sharing and helping other people to kind of see things in a different perspective. I think it's one of my favorite things to do. So I happen to be, for those of you that follow my social media account and you have seen my puppy, we have a German Shepherd named Pepperbean. And so oftentimes I'll post videos of Pepperbean doing Pepperbean things. And uh, I belong to a German Shepherd group on Facebook. And so the other day I saw someone make a post asking a question that was along the lines of, I want to get a German Shepherd. Anyway, they asked a very general question about getting a German Shepherd and they spelled shepherd wrong. And um so I, for one, just spelling is not a talent that I have. And so I probably am really capable of seeing this from a really different perspective than a lot of people because is what happens is if I spell something wrong, my brain auto corrects it. So I don't even see it wrong, even if I were to really look at it close and know that it's wrong, my brain will just go over it. When you do those exercises where they show you something funny in words, they ask you to read it and you don't realize it, but there's two thes or a bunch of ofs or something, and your brain just auto skips it, right? So I feel like my brain auto corrects all of the spelling errors that I see. But anyways, this person spelled German Shepherd wrong and just got eaten alive by the rest of the group. And so I'm going to just give you my perspective of the negative energy that this brings to yourself when you do stuff like this. So I get it. I understand that for a lot of people, spelling is a something that it's really irritating to them when people are spelling incorrectly. And I'm going to challenge you to understand that that is a perception that you have. Spelling is not anything other than something that you were taught. So, belittling other people or making someone feel bad or placing yourself into a different cognitive level because you feel that you can spell and someone else can't. And if I lose some followers over this, it's okay because I encourage you, even if this doesn't specifically apply to you with spelling, you can use this in a lot of other contexts. Anything that you look at other people and feel like they're not competent in it, spelling anything, right? It's simply a perception. At some time in your life, you were taught to put a meaning to a sound and a meaning to what you visually see as a letter that makes a sound. And all it is a perception. And so when someone's on a Facebook page being mean and belittling someone, saying things like, well, before you get a dog, you should learn how to spell the name, and I kind of blew it off because for me, it's like, okay, I mean, how do you not know that they didn't just accidentally fat finger in the word shepherd and messed up the spelling? Um, but really, when it comes down to it, let's ask ourselves this question. Do you think that there are any people out there that do not care properly for their dogs that know how to spell? See what I'm saying? When you put things into a different perspective, you're kind of like, well, wait a minute. I don't think that ability to care for a dog has anything to do with the fact that you can spell or that you can't spell. So, the other thing too is that when we look at it from the aspect of the laws of universal energy, putting something negative out onto a Facebook post that somebody spelled something wrong, I'm telling you what, if you could visually see the negative energy that you're bringing back to yourself from making a post so simple as belittling someone about not being able to spell, the thought would never cross your mind. You would never in a million years make a post saying something rude about the way someone is spelling if you could see the negative energy that that brings back to you. So I'm just going to put that there, that um it's not worth it. I was having this conversation with Cody a couple days ago about how we both are definitely wired to be really hot-headed. And in the past, especially, I know for myself, but he was telling me as well for him, that in our younger years, like, we would just be ravaging, pillaging the village is what we call it, right? When someone would do something that we would perceive as doing us wrong, we would be vengeful. We would take revenge. And it was almost like getting some kind of emotional comfort out of, like, how much can I ruin someone's life that did me wrong? And who we were talking about how it's amazing that when you get to certain places in your life or a certain age, that changes. And it's like, I'll take peace over revenge, right? If someone does something to me now, I'm just like, okay, whatever. As long as you're not like directly damaging something in my life in the moment, I mean, you can do whatever you want or say whatever you want or think whatever you want about me. It's fine. Or you can spell German Shepherd wrong, or you can, you know, say something weird to me at Walmart about what I have in my cart, telling me that my Dr. Pepper is going to kill me. Something, I don't know, right? It's okay because I'm good. I'm good in my space and I have peace and clarity and I don't need validation of anyone else. So it just doesn't bother you. All right. So let's hop into today's topic. It is the frequency of emotions. And I'm going to show you some really cool things. So, who am I? Who am I? Let me sing for you. That's a song. It reminded me of a song that I used to sing. Oh, that brings up a point too. Also, you know what? Do not let people um do not let people burst your bubble. When I was in like middle school, I took singing lessons and I can sing, but one day I went to do a performance for the school and I was in a solo and I was so nervous. I was like 13 in front of the entire auditorium of parents and students and my voice cracked and I stopped singing. I never did it again because I was so humiliated. Right? And if that happened to me now, I would just whatever, right? My voice cracked. I would just keep going and realize that, like, it's a natural thing. You're just nervous and your voice cracked. And the more you do this, the better you'll get. But we grow and we learn. Okay. So, my name is Amy Elizabeth Jorgensen, and I have a master's degree in education. And my purpose and passion is helping other people get out of the rabbit hole, which means that's that space that you go into when things start happening and you're just like, I can't do this anymore. And life gets a hold of you and basically shoves you into the rabbit hole. And that space that you get into when you feel like you're just climbing out, and then someone stomps on your face and you fall back in. And so I love helping people. The key to this is understanding who you are, because we are taught to be everything that we're not. And when you put all those layers of past conditioning onto yourself, you feel so weighted down and you absolutely learn a learned behavior to dislike yourself. But I'm telling you, if you can learn to dislike yourself, you can learn to love yourself again. So this is what I do. I go live every Mondays. I also do, of course, I have one-on-one sessions. And I'm also going to post over here, guys, because I have been sending out weekly emails and I want to make sure you take advantage of this. So I'm going to post that here in the chat. Um, there we go. So the weekly emails align with this specific energy that is going on in, I call it group consciousness energy, also involves some planetary energy. Now, if you're like, this is way something I don't understand, seriously, Google the Heart Math Institute. It is the best research that shows you how we are all connected as one energy. So we're going into the quantum realm, but I'm just telling you at the beginning of the week. So on Sunday, I send out an email and it has these amazing things that you can do, a journaling um, type. There's a journaling questions. There's a theme for the week that you can take advantage of. So basically, instead of fighting through, because you know how sometimes you're just like, the week is trying to kill me. So instead of feeling like that, once again, going down the rabbit hole, The email helps you to align and know what energies are available to you that you can focus on this week. It also has some topic for you to clear out old energy, and also another one to help you ground and stay grounded for the week. So I'm going to be sending out a additional one this week. I believe I can't see that far because we have a new moon. And so I'm going to send you out an additional one so that you can also help harness the energy of the moon and where it is so that you can take advantage of that. So I put that link in there in the comments. Okay, so here we go. Um, I'm a practitioner in lots of methodologies. I do human design, body code, belief code, emotion code. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist, and um, my as you can see, my master's degree is in education because I just simply love teaching. And so this is what I do for my purpose and passion. I also have a methodology that I created which combines kind of everything that I love, human design and all of these beautiful releases, into one specific methodology that is called Elevate Life Vibration, or ELV. And so that is a specific energy methodology that I teach to other people. So with my lives on Monday, I like to give you some actionable tools that you can use in the moment. So let's take a look at some of those. All right. So let me make this bigger for you. There we go. Okay. So this is what we call the frequency chart. There is a book called Power versus Force, and it is one of those books that I won't call it an easy reader, but if you can get into it, um, it's very informational. It's very eye opening. So I'm just going to talk to you in this energy chart or emotional, your consciousness chart. We'll make it a little bit easier to understand. So we have frequencies. Everything is a measurable energy. Now, I can die on a hill saying that because it's scientifically proven everything is a measurable energy. The microphone I'm talking into, the computer, my water bottle, myself, everything is a measurable energy. We just all vibrate at different levels. And so you can see the frequency over here in the one column. As energy expands and grows, negativity dissolves. And as energy contracts, then we have what we call a weaker destructive energy. And you can feel this. I mean, think about it. When you feel anger compared to feeling love, it feels different, right? I was talking a second ago about living in that space of peace, letting resentment go, letting this desire to get revenge go. Because although in the moment it feels really good, it's actually a lower vibrating frequency. So when we hang out in these lower vibrating frequencies, a few things happen to us. Our body starts to deteriorate at these lower frequencies because when we start feeling these emotions of guilt and shame and blame and despair and regret and anxiety and feeling of disappointment, we're creating these little chemical reactions within our body, and those little chemicals are releasing oxidative stress. So, like, I, for one, had an event going on that was kind of an anticipation thing for today. And I could tell, like, all throughout the day, I kept having to work on myself because I could just feel that tension, right? From being stressed, that oxidative stress tends to kind of like make your shoulders really tense. And, you're like trying to crack your neck and do some releases. And so our bodies have these amazing ability to heal itself, and with telomeres and releasing of oxidative stressors and free radicals. But when we don't get rid of those and we're not processing and we're not living in these higher vibrational states, those things basically sit in our system. They stop energy from flowing. You can think of it as almost like they're like blood clots, only on an energetic level. And when everything starts hanging out like this, our body starts to almost rust. I think that's a great way to think about it. Your body starts to rust and you start to fall apart. So after we have um, these buildup of energies and we don't release them, we start to see the effects. And those effects are in physical symptoms, in illnesses, in having aches and pains, and having energy that we just can't explain. Like, why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling grief when I don't have anything that I know that it's attached to? All of these things are just building up. And over time, they can create specific masses in the body. So maybe when, I was 7, something significant happened at school and I feel humiliated. And then when I'm 10, um, my parents get a divorce, and so then I have that building up on the humiliation from when I was 7, and then when I was 16, I'm in a car accident, and that's built up on the other 2 previous things. And then when I'm 20 years old, my sibling passes away. And so that grief that I have from my sibling passing away, if I don't process it and it actually connects to those other little things that we talked about, it creates this big gigantic mess. And maybe now, like, my body's just at its limit. And so all of these things combined together, I suddenly have an issue going on with my left elbow. And so now I'm going in when and looking at this physically to see what I can do to surgically fix this, when in reality, if I just clear away all of these emotions that are balled up in that area, I wouldn't have that pain and I wouldn't have to have that surgery. So that's one of the reasons why we want to cognitively focus on being at an emotional level that is a higher frequency level. But also, the other thing is because you attract the same frequency that you give off. So, whatever frequency range you're in, you're attracting people that are a like frequency. And that's just how it works. And that's why you feel really good around someone that's happy, and you feel really, really um imbalanced and uncomfortable, sometimes even awkward around someone. Think about someone that's scorning you or being demanding, or antagonistic, that's down here in the like 150 hertz range. That doesn't feel good, right? You don't feel great when you are the same. You don't feel the same around that person as you do around someone that's being understanding or forgiving. It's just because they're at those different frequencies. So let's look at this in a little different view. So let's look at these for people, as far as what happens when you're stuck in these negative vibrational states. We call these people energy drainers. So they have these negative emotions. These are the types of things that they're doing. And as you can see, it creates a cycle. And then we get into this really negative, icky spot, kind of like I talked about, being stuck down that rabbit hole where you stop progressing and now you're having physical symptoms and issues. So let's look at some of these. So comparing yourself, or envying another, overthinking, delusional about stuff. So I mean delusional in the space of, like, you might be imagining. I see this with my clients a lot. Like, they have a trapped emotion, a negative energy from imagining the worst case scenario. Like, how often do you do that? Right? I used to be really bad at that. I would imagine, like, because I have a beautiful imagination, but I would imagine like the worst case scenario. I did this when my daughter was sick. I was like, oh my gosh, before she was even born, I was going to sell my house. I was going to do all this stuff because I wanted to be prepared for her to be born, because I knew she had a heart issue. And I remember someone saying, Amy, just wait and take it a moment at a time. Like, let's not, do all this drastic stuff, which, looking back, I'm really glad that I didn't. Like, worst case scenario, maybe in my mind at the moment, the worst case scenario did happen. But I was able to handle it well by not thinking about the worst case scenario. Because really, imagining the worst case scenario, I used to think was like, no, that's good because you're preparing yourself for the worst case scenario. It's actually not. It's not saying that you shouldn't prepare yourself, but there's an obsession that comes with that, and also a desire or a need to control. And when you do that, you're spending energy that you don't have. And so it depletes you and actually affects your health. Um, we also start detaching from nature when we're at this negative space. We feel like we don't have a purpose. We have a lack of boundaries. We talk negatively about ourselves and about other people. We tend to be really like nitpicky. We'll be like, oh, look at like, why is she dressed like that? Um, we ignore our gifts, especially our intuitive sources, because we can't hear them when we're negatively vibrating. We play small because we live in fear. We have burnout and we're overworking. We tend to attract really toxic relationships, right? Because we're attracting that negative vibration that we're feeling. And then also we tend to copy other people because we really don't know who we are. And we get into this space of we've lost our identity. So let's look at that as compared to somebody who is vibrating at a higher level. So we call these energy givers. Okay. And when we focus on this, we actually have an abundance of energy to give. So we're constantly like replenishing our own system, which allows us to give to other people instead of draining. So we're able to do more things that bring us joy. So we laugh and we smile. Like, have you ever heard that? Oh, a smile is contagious, right? When you walk into a room. I mean, I know, like, look at this. So this is my resting face of like, I accidentally went live once and I was making this face and I horrified myself. So this is my resting thinking face. Compared to my walk in the room, see like how different that is, right? So smiling and laughing, spiritual development and meditation, connecting with nature. You feel like you have a purpose and a passion. You tend to also align with being healthy. So you eat healthy, you take care of yourself because you love who you are. Self love, practice, and gratitude. I used to think that people that like themselves had ego problems, but that's not true. I just didn't like myself. I didn't like myself. So I was judgmental about other people that like themselves. So if you find yourself being really in a space where you dislike other people that like themselves, I would focus more on the fact that you're probably mirroring the energy that you hate the most about yourself and someone else. Um, Fulfilling hobbies, you get involved in things. And I'm not saying like fulfilling hobbies for you have to be going out and playing tennis. Fulfilling hobbies can be all kinds of stuff. Like I spend a lot of time creating content, right? To teach. And that's a hobby that I love. Seeing good in everything. Perception is everything, right? I love to change problems into challenges. So if I have a problem, I view it as a challenge. And then I go a step further and view my challenge as an opportunity. And suddenly my problem looks really cool because it was a problem. And now it actually has a positive part to it. Relaxing and resting, positive relationships. Let's see, where was I? Right, you're attracting other people that are vibrating at this higher frequency. So you have positive relationships and life just becomes more simple because you're not going through the resistance of life. So let's show you some action items because that's what I love the most about teaching is showing you a way that you can actually do some actionable items. Let me move my face. Okay. So, actionable items. Okay. This is a shifting exercise. So, I want you to ask yourself when you get into a space where you feel like you're vibrating negatively, what is making me feel this way? And don't let yourself do that. I don't know, because you do know. Your subconscious knows if your cognitive mind doesn't know. So have a little conversation with yourself. I want you to talk to yourself like you're talking to a child or talking to someone that you know they have something wrong and you just can't quite get them to get past that. So give yourself this honest space. Say, "Hey, it's okay to recognize what is bothering me with no guilt, no judgment." Because sometimes too we won't address what's bothering us because we have been taught that having these feelings are not justified or something is going on or wrong with us. Okay. So, what is making me feel this way? And I want you to bring yourself back into the now moment. And we do that by saying, what control do I actually have over this in the moment? In the moment, I'm not talking about yesterday. I don't want to hear what you should have done. I don't want you to say to yourself, well, is what I should have done. Okay. We aren't there. We don't need to go back to the what I should have done. We just want to know what we need to do right now. Okay. So what can we do in this very moment today, right now? In this moment at 5:55 p.m. or whatever time it is for you, What can I do right now? If the answer is nothing, then I want you to make a deliberate decision to let it go. And I want you to actually have that conversation with yourself. There's nothing I can do, so I'm going to let this go. And then also breaking energy cords with people, because if you are attached to someone that's keeping you in this space or bringing you back to this space, which heaven knows I will be the first person to tell you that I know what it feels like to be in a space with someone who's constantly putting you in the cycle of I'm so sorry, followed by some negative behaviors that bring you back to hating yourself, followed by I'm so sorry, you're the best person, I love you so much, you're great, followed by some negative behaviors that make you dislike yourself again. Those are the types of spaces that you need to try to break away. And I'll tell you, if you're struggling in that space and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do because I'm with someone and I really want to leave, but I don't know how. And it's hard, it's so hard. It's harder than you think. I used to be the type of person that would look at someone and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're in a bad space or you don't like being there or this person is abusive. Just leave." And then I lived that life and you can't just leave. And sometimes you're fearful for your safety or your children's safety. Where am I going to live? And what am I going to do? And how am I going to take care of myself? And there's so much more to that puzzle that only you can make that decision of when the timing is right for you to go. Okay. So, those are some amazing exercises. And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. But I am going to remind you, hop over onto the side, jump into my email list because you'll get a special email about aligning with the new moon energy. And then also, as you guys know, if you're really, really struggling, I do have my client sessions. You don't even have to be really involved with them. You can book a remote session where I will make this connection energetically and we will release some amazing things from your subconscious and make you have a feeling of just released weight. And I will send you all the notes of everything I find. If you're really like, man, I just want to learn more about who I am, message me too. I'll be happy to share with you your human design. Even if you don't want to do a whole reading, I will share with you your human design and tell you what your authority and type are so you can align with how you should be making decisions. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Happy Monday and blessed be for a beautiful rest of